Texas Governor Greg Abbott is taking immigration matters into his own hands, or at least his state's hands. Monday, he signed a law known as SB 4, which gives Texas authorities the power to arrest and jail migrants who cross into the state illegally from Mexico.
Greg Abbott, you ever heard of him? This law, which takes effect in March, allows any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country. Do you realize that that means a law enforcement official can walk up to somebody, all right, they look Hispanic. Okay, their English is broken. They don't speak fluent English. So that could be a cause for me to arrest them? It's racist. Somebody needs to say it, so I'm gonna say it. It's a racist ass thing to do.
Okay, did anyone have sports analyst Stephen A. Smith dropping the hammer on the despicable Greg Abbott on their end of 2023 bingo card? Because I sure didn't, but I am here for it.
Suspicion? Suspect. Suspected of entering the country illegally. How can you be suspected of entering the country illegally? So you chilling in downtown Dallas or Houston. You hanging out with a bunch of folks. You're speaking Spanish instead of English. Your clothes might not be a Tom Ford suit or something. You might not be wearing a Jordan sweatsuit. You might look a little poor and impoverished, a bit haggardy or haphazard. Those things you might not look the part. That's a suspicion.
If you watch Stephen A. Smith, you know he's known for some hot takes on American sports. I mean, I'm no American sport expert. I actually follow the real football. I'll get him good and riled up in the comments. But even I know that some of his takes are out there. In fact, I've disagreed with many of his opinions when it comes to how sports recapitulates society. His views on Kaepernick, for one. But the 5 minutes that he spent recently condemning Greg Abbott's new law, a law that grants police sweeping new powers to arrest migrants who they suspect illegally crossed the US border. They'll reach far and wide, not just because it deviates from his regular scheduled program, but because it's powerful, damning, and most importantly, enlightening.
This is bad, ladies and gentlemen. And before I go a step further, there's an individual by the name of Krish, Krish, Omara Vignarajah, Vignarajah. That person is the CEO of Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, says, quote, by criminalizing the very act of seeking refuge, Texas is turning its back on the values of compassion and due process that make our nation the world's beacon of humanitarian leadership. That is one way to put it. There are various other ways to put it. This is a disgrace. It's inhumane. And it opens the floodgate to further divide our nation, because when you have law enforcement that literally can arrest people over a suspicion, think about that for a second. People can be arrested who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Do you realize that that means a law enforcement official can walk up to somebody, all right, they look Hispanic. Okay, their English is broken. They don't speak fluent English. So that could be a cause for me to arrest them. Let them deal with the problems later. Ladies and gentlemen, to get out of jail, bail costs money. It ain't free. To hire a lawyer, that costs money. It ain't free. You have essentially opened up an avenue to incarcerate people for no cause whatsoever other than a particular law enforcement official's suspicion. That's what we're going to do to our Latino brothers and sisters. It's racist. Somebody needs to say it, so I'm going to say it. It's a racist ass thing to do. Suspicion? Suspect. Suspected of entering the country illegally. How can you be suspected of entering the country illegally? So you chilling in downtown Dallas or Houston. You hanging out with a bunch of folks. You're speaking Spanish instead of English. Your clothes might not be a Tom Ford suit or something. You might not be wearing a Jordan sweatsuit. You might look a little poor and impoverished, a bit haggardy or haphazard. Those things you might not look the part. That's a suspicion. They can literally label that as suspicion to justify arresting you, not questioning you, not asking for an ID. They literally can arrest you. That's criminal. See, what we're really learning here is that there are levels of enslavement. Yeah, I can deport you. I could send you back. Or I could keep you incarcerated. You can feed the system. Another body in there. We know the prisons throughout this nation, to some degree anyway, have been privatized. We do know that, right? You do know that there are people profiting off of folks getting incarcerated, right? If you don't believe me, go back and look at 13. That documentary on Netflix, directed by Ava DuVernay. Go back and look at things like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. What a disgrace. And to think, I love this state from the standpoint that it's got no state income taxes. You got beautiful cities like Dallas and Houston and Austin, Texas. I'm looking forward to being in a city like that someday. And then I see a governor like this doing this kind of nonsense. It's a damn disgrace. It really, really is.
His response comes after Abbott declared the law, which takes effect in March, will allow any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest people who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Yeah, it's basically stop and frisk border edition. This will only open the floodgates for discriminatory practices that this country, well, we know too well, has failed to reckon with it in regards to policing its citizens.
Look, this is an extreme law that will not and does not make the communities in Texas safer. Demonize immigrants and also dehumanize immigrants. This is part of this. And so this is not who we are as a country. This is not who we should be as a country. Communities should not be individually targeted and put into harm's way. And this is what we're seeing. Again, this is something that Governor Abbott has done over and over again.
Now, I've always said that the issue of immigration itself is complex and discussing new measures is needed, but I've also understood there's a clear difference between those who actually care about the border and want to work towards a resolution, and then those who see the outrage as more useful than the resolution. It provides a perfect distraction for them.
There are probably even far more who have not been apprehended, who evaded apprehension, who are roaming around the country. That is all because Joe Biden has failed in his responsibility as commander-in-chief to make sure we secure the United States of America, and he's failed in that regard.
So they lean into it. They continue to fan the flames using human beings as political pawns to score points with their voters, while doing absolutely nothing to combat the issue itself. Abbott knows that many of his constituents are sickened by the fact that he refuses to pass any reasonable gun control measures, not to mention the fact that a mom in his state was forced to leave to obtain a life-saving abortion.
2 weeks pregnant with a baby that will not survive, had to beg a judge today for a desperately necessary abortion in order to preserve her health, to keep her baby from suffering, and to enable her to have children in the future.
He knows that pressure is mounting, so what does he do? He implements discriminatory, hate-fueled laws, provide a smokescreen to his own incompetence.
The reality that Texas does not really make it easy for people to vote, does not provide a quality education for the young people of this state. We're focused on banning books. We're focusing on eliminating diversity, equity, inclusion at public universities. So it's basically the silencing and the erasure of a people. And that cannot go uncontested.
Once again, using human beings for political gain.
It's a damn disgrace. It really, really is.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.